I had already said what I needed to say, and if I continued, we had already found the black audience, and they're following it and becoming more astute each time they see a movie. And we're starting to lose them now because everybody is jumping on the same formula I'm working on.
Pam Grier was banned from The Prince of Bel-Air. She had a dominant presence in Hollywood, rose to fame during a challenging era for a black woman in the film industry.
Because of the roles that were being offered, I thought, well, I'll just make enough money in the film industry and then go back to school. Because the people were still they weren't accepting blacks in very good, sound roles. They were pretty much token roles, stereotype roles, and they weren't strong, and I'm a very strong personality.
She made a significant impact, performing most of her own stunts and quickly becoming known for her sharp, street-smart dialogues that resonated with the spirit of urban life. What could possibly lead to her unexpected and mysterious exit from the beloved series? Join us as we delve into the hidden details of Pam Grier's sudden and tragic exit, a tale of stunts, success, and secrets. Pam Grier rose to fame during a time when it was incredibly hard for a black woman to succeed in the film industry. She made a name for herself, even doing most of her own stunts with great skill, quickly taking down her on-screen enemies. Her movies became a cultural sensation, with audiences actively engaging with the films, often responding to the sharp, street-smart dialogues that captured the spirit of urban life. Just as she was about to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, a secret from her past threatened to unravel everything she had worked so hard to build. Born on May 26, 1949, in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Pam was the daughter of Gwendolyn Sylvia, a woman devoted to her family. Pam's story is not just about her success in movies, it's about her ongoing struggle against personal and professional obstacles. But this wasn't the most challenging part. Her life story also reveals the deep resilience she showed both on and off the screen, helping us understand why she could never return to Bel-Air. This was a sharp contrast to the harsh racial discrimination they had faced in the U.S. In the American South, Pam and her family had encountered racism regularly. Buses would pass them by because of their race. They weren't allowed to eat in certain restaurants, and they couldn't use some public restrooms. Pam remembered that even as late as 1969, there were stores where she and her father weren't allowed to try on clothes simply because they were black. In 1967, Pam made a bold move toward her dreams by relocating to Los Angeles, California. At first, she took a simple job answering phones at American International Pictures, AIP. What she didn't realize was that this job would soon lead to a significant turning point in her life. It wasn't long before Jack Hill, a director at AIP, noticed something special about her. This chance meeting pushed her into the world of acting, landing her roles in Roger Corman's women in prison films like The Big Dollhouse, Women in Cages, and The Big Bird Cage. These roles were just the start of her successful acting career. As she worked with AIP, Pam quickly became a leading star in the black exploitation films of the early 1970s. She played strong, independent women, especially in Hill's 1973 film Coffee, where she took on the role of a nurse seeking revenge against drug dealers. This role solidified her as a symbol of strength and empowerment in the movie industry. The movie trailer showed her as a fierce, lone warrior charging into the city, which created a lot of excitement for her character. The film became a huge hit, filled with the usual themes of drugs and violence that were common at that time. This role marked Pam as the first African-American woman to lead an action movie, an incredible achievement considering men usually played these parts. Film critic Roger Ebert praised the movie Coffee, especially pointing out Pam's natural and engaging performance. He noted her striking beauty and strong presence, highlighting the energy she brought to her role, something many of her peers lacked. Pam continued to play similar roles in other AIP movies like Foxy Brown, Sheba Baby, and Friday Foster. But as the popularity of blaxploitation films began to fade in the late 1970s, Pam noticed a decline in major roles, leading her to take on smaller parts for a while. By the 1980s, she slowly began landing more important character roles. In 1981, she played a drug-addicted sex worker in Fort Apache, the Bronx. Just 2 years later, she appeared as a sorceress in Something Wicked This Way Comes. In 1985, Pam showed her versatility as an actress by making her stage debut in Sam Shepard's Fool for Love at the Los Angeles Theater Center. But this wasn't the end of her journey. Pam proved she was still a force in the industry when she made a strong comeback in 1988, playing Steven Seagal's detective partner in Above the Law. She also had a recurring role on Miami Vice from 1985 to 1989, further cementing her place in both movies and television. Pam's career journey, marked by both highs and lows, showed her resilience and talent, making her a lasting figure in the entertainment world. Pam was a familiar face on many popular TV shows like Martin, Night Court, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was also a regular on the drama series Crime Story from 1986 to 1988. Pam had landed a role in the movie Rocket Gibraltar, but it was cut due to the director's worries about how people might react to scenes of interracial romance. Despite this disappointment, Pam kept her steady presence on television, appearing in shows like Sinbad's Press Chronicles, The Cosby Show, The Wayans Brothers Show, and Mad TV in 1994. In addition to her TV roles, Pam was also featured in the music video for Snoop Dogg's Doggy Dogg World. As the 1990s came to a close, Pam joined the cast of the Showtime series Lynx. In 1996, she appeared in John Carpenter's movie Escape from L.A. and took on the lead role in Quentin Tarantino's film Jackie Brown in 1997. These roles paid tribute to her work in 1970s blaxploitation films and brought her several award nominations. But this wasn't the end of her success. Pam then took on the role of Kit Porter in Showtime's The L Word, a series that enjoyed 6 successful seasons, ending in March 2009. She continued to make TV appearances, including a recurring role on Law & Order: Special Victims Unit. In 2010, Pam started playing a recurring character on the popular sci-fi series Smallville, where she portrayed the villain Amanda Waller, also known as the White Queen, the leader of a secretive agency. Pam's journey through television and film was marked by perseverance and adaptability, with each role adding to her rich and varied career. With the shadows of her past looming, the next chapter explores how Pam navigated her return to the spotlight. Early traumas to Starlight Encounters. In 2010, she took on a significant role in Checkmate, a secret organization focused on undercover missions. Just a year later, she appeared in the film Larry Crown, playing a supportive friend and colleague to Julia Roberts, who starred as a university teacher. Known for her stunning appearance, Pam quickly became the center of attention, attracting admirers from various backgrounds, including actors, comedians, and sports stars. But despite being one of the most desired actresses in Hollywood, Pam's love life was far from perfect. Pam's childhood was marked by deep pain. When she was just 6 years old, she experienced a traumatic event at the hands of her cousin and his friends. This early assault left a lasting impact on her, leading to a stutter and a fear of social situations. She chose to keep this painful experience to herself, worried about the chaos it might cause within her family. She decided to remain silent, testing her strength by carrying this heavy burden alone. During these difficult times, her grandparents' farm in Wyoming became a safe haven. In this peaceful environment, she discovered a love for horseback riding, a skill that would be valuable throughout her life. Slowly, her stutter began to fade. With dreams of becoming a doctor, Pam enrolled at Metropolitan State College in Denver. But just as she was settling into college life, her past and future ambitions started to collide in ways she hadn't expected, setting the stage for the challenges ahead. From her early years, Pam was healing from the deep wounds of her childhood. However, at the age of 18, she faced another severe setback. During a date, she encountered a man who violated her, an event that caused her to retreat even further into herself. In her memoir, Pam recounts that she endured 4 separate violent events, 2 during her childhood, 1 in her teenage years, and another as a young adult. Following these incidents, Pam made a conscious decision to dress plainly, hoping to draw less attention to herself and potentially avoid any future attacks. For years, she carried the weight of these harrowing experiences alone, choosing to deal with her emotions privately, unsure of how others would react if she shared her story. Her journey into romantic relationships was fraught with challenges. When she finally mustered the courage to confide in a boyfriend, his reaction was devastatingly harsh. He accused her of being damaged and ended their relationship. This rejection was a profound blow to Pam, who struggled to find a partner who could empathize with her struggles and offer the support she desperately needed. Her love life remained tumultuous, marred by a lack of understanding and shared emotional depth, leaving her isolated in her pain. During her journey, Pam encountered Wilt Chamberlain, the famous basketball star known for his claims of being with over 20,000 women. However, their connection didn't match Pam's hopes. Wilt preferred partners who were more sophisticated and worldly, while Pam's down-to-earth nature didn't fit that mold. For him, their time together was just casual fun, which left Pam feeling disappointed. Pam participated in a beauty contest to help pay for her medical studies, which she thought was her only option at the time. Little did she know, this event would change her life. In the audience was a talent scout who noticed Pam and saw something special in her. The scout encouraged her to think about acting, pointing out that there was a growing need for black actresses. At first, Pam wasn't sure about the idea, but eventually she decided to give it a try and moved to Los Angeles. As Pam adjusted to her new surroundings, people began to notice her. One of them was Ferdinand Lewis Alcindor Jr., better known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a towering 7 feet 2 inches figure who had just finished his time at UCLA and was making waves in the NBA. They both shared a love for martial arts, which brought them closer together and led to a deep and meaningful romance. Pam believed she had finally found the perfect partner, someone who truly understood and respected her. She often talked about how Ferdinand Lewis Alcindor Jr. was her first boyfriend after she moved from Colorado. During that time, Pam was working hard to get into UCLA's film school. Around the same time, Ferdinand embraced Islam and changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He spoke of marrying her and assured her that she didn't need to convert to Islam to be with him. But over time, Kareem's views began to change. He eventually told Pam that he could only marry someone who shared his faith. Pam started to feel uncomfortable with certain aspects of Islam, especially those that seemed to place women in a secondary role. When she asked why women had to walk behind men, Kareem simply replied that it was Allah's will. Then on her birthday, Kareem gave Pam a difficult ultimatum. He told her that if she didn't agree to marry him immediately, he would marry another woman that same day at 2 o'clock. He revealed that another woman, who had also converted to Islam, was ready to marry him if Pam said no. This sudden pressure forced Pam to make a quick decision. She refused his proposal and wished him well for the future. Kareem went on to marry a woman named Janice Brown, who took the name Habiba Abdul-Jabbar. They had 3 children together, but their marriage ended after only 7 years. After her relationship with Kareem ended, Pam threw herself into her acting career. Despite Hollywood's tough beauty standards, she spoke openly to the New York Times about her crooked teeth and the noticeable scar on her knee, a reminder of being shot when she was just 17. Standing at 5 feet 8 inches and starting out at 145 pounds, the Washington Post had described her as heavyset. This description didn't make things easier for her, especially when she often stood taller than her male co-stars. Yet Pam didn't let this stop her. She pushed forward and made a significant leap in her career by landing the lead role in the 1971 movie, The Big Dollhouse. While this was a big win for her career, her personal life was not as steady. As Pam navigated through her complex emotions and the glittering yet harsh world of Hollywood, she found herself at another crossroads, ready to turn the page to the next chapter of her life. The turbulent romances of a film icon. Pam's romantic life included brief flings with Don Cornelius, the charming host of Soul Train, and Robert Plant, the famous lead singer of Led Zeppelin. But it wasn't until 1973, during the promotion of her film Coffee, that she felt a deeper connection with someone. That's when she met Freddie Prinze, a rising star in comedy. They had an undeniable chemistry, and Pam even thought about marriage. But Freddie's growing struggles with depression and drug use soon overshadowed their relationship. Pam found it hard to be around Freddie's circle, where drug use was common. But this wasn't the worst part. Freddie often showed up intoxicated for their meetings, and he once admitted something that deeply upset Pam. He was trying to conceive a child with her without her consent. This revelation left her deeply disturbed, adding more strain to their already troubled relationship. Despite her efforts in her career, her personal life was filled with challenges that were hard to ignore. He cared deeply for her, but he was afraid she might not want to marry him. Pam knew he had helped her a lot at the start of her career, but she wasn't happy with his attempts to become the father of her child. Even with these issues, Freddie was always there for her. In an interview, Pam mentioned that Freddie was the one who encouraged her to pursue Broadway, believing she could become a star. He wanted her to shine without feeling like her success took anything away from him. But soon, Freddie's personal problems became too much for Pam to handle, and she decided to end their relationship, though they remained friends. Later, Freddie started a new relationship with Kathy Cochran, and together they had a son, Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie also played a big role in introducing Pam to the famous comedian Richard Pryor. The three of them spent time together at Richard's house, but the night took a dark turn as the partying and drug use got out of hand. Sensing where things were headed, Pam asked Freddie to take her home. As Freddie's addiction grew worse, Pam began to distance herself, focusing on her rapidly growing acting career. She landed major roles in films like Foxy Brown and kept building her career. But then one evening, she received a heartbreaking call from Freddie, who was staying in a hotel. His voice was filled with sadness, as he admitted. Pam felt her world crumble around her. The friends she once trusted had taken advantage of her, leaving her with nothing but deep sorrow and a weapon by her side. Fearful and worried about the safety of those she cared about, Pam was hesitant to face him. During this difficult time, she found comfort in talking to Madame Noir. Pam shared how she was juggling several mortgages and paying for others' education out of her own pocket. These responsibilities gave her life a sense of purpose, and she was determined not to let anyone, not even Freddie, disrupt her progress. But the worst was yet to come. On January 29, 1977, Pam received devastating news. Freddie had taken his own life at the young age of 22. This heartbreaking event soon led Pam back into Richard Pryor's life as they began working together on the film Greased Lightning. What started as a simple friendship gradually grew into love. However, Richard was struggling with his own issues, particularly with drug addiction. Pam was steadfast in her support, helping him confront his fears, guiding him towards healthier habits, encouraging him to read more, and successfully helping him quit drugs for a time. But this wasn't the end of their challenges. Despite 6 months of being clean, Richard eventually slipped back into his old ways. His return to substance use was a painful reminder that their journey towards recovery was far from over. Richard had been using drugs since he was just 13 years old. Over the years, the toll on his body became severe due to nearly 4 decades of substance abuse. During a routine medical checkup, Pam received startling news. Her doctor found traces of cocaine in her system, a drug that had become common among Hollywood's elite at that time. It was suspected that Richard had been using cocaine in a risky way, applying it to his genitals to enhance his sexual performance. Whether this was true or not, the fact that cocaine was in Richard's system meant it could be passed on to Pam during their intimate moments, putting her health at risk. Worried about her well-being, Pam asked Richard to use protection during sex, but he refused. This blatant disregard for her safety was too much for Pam, leading to their separation in 1977. Richard, in his memoir, expressed how he felt about Pam's behavior, believing she saw herself as the more famous of the two. Not long after their breakup, Richard married Deborah Maguire in a wedding that was far from perfect. He later shared with Vanity Fair the chaotic events of his wedding day. He was drunk, Deborah arrived an hour late, and to make things worse, he was still romantically involved with Pam at the time. Overwhelmed by the turmoil and disrespect, Pam decided to leave Richard for good. As the years went by, the memories of their turbulent relationship faded, but the effects of those years stayed with them. Despite the passing of time, the shadow of those years lingered, shaping their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Pam Grier had been working in smaller roles on TV shows like Roots and The Love Boat. Her life took an unexpected turn when Sidney Poitier called her one day with some troubling news. He told her that Richard Pryor was in a bad state, causing problems during the filming of Stir Crazy. Sidney asked Pam if she could step in and help Richard get back on track. When Pam met Richard, she found him deeply caught up in his cocaine addiction. Despite this, she managed to convince him to return to work on the movie. But things took a darker turn soon after. Do you think her portrayal of strong women helped change societal views on race and gender? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.